a little introduction more, because as he said, I have written a lot about the topic of this session, but they have asked me to speak about another topic. But you can look in Faith and Liberty, which is already, there are 2 editions in English, 2 editions in Polish, and 2 editions in Spanish of that book, and also other editions. And I think I focus there on the topic that Barbara mentioned, the contributions of the Christian moral philosophers that created the roots of the free market order. And I also wrote a paper on regaining the moral foundations of the free society for the Philadelphia Society that should be online on the web. But only one paragraph of what for me is the essence of what is the moral foundation of the free society is the dignity of the human person. That being that is created, is not self-created, has a soul, has social inclination. Yes, it's an individual with free will, but it's that view of the human being that was shared by the classical liberals, like Carrie Adam Smith in my time, by the founding father of the United States, that was much richer than the vision of the human being that grew at the end of the 19th century. That was the individualist vision. Some of us economists contributed to that, seeing the human being just as a utility function, a rational adult maximizer. Turning the human being into a number and turning the political game into a number makes collectivism win, because in a game of numbers, the many win. So that is as my sort of little contribution to the first 2 chats of today. Now, as it was mentioned, I'm one of the founding trustees of the Acton Institute for the Study of Religion and Liberty. And thanks to that, we get, to chat with cardinals and bishops, and sometimes they tell me some secret that happened in the church. And I want to tell 2 stories, that I heard. I know how true they are, and go to this fact, is philanthropy something, that is natural, or is something that we have to work at? Because some cultures seem to be better at giving, other cultures are better at asking. Regarding giving, it seems that just after this crisis, one of these bankers that made millions suddenly died, but he still wanted to go to heaven. So he knocks on the doors of St. Peter, and St. Peter sends his guardian there to see, who is this person. He says, well, go and find out. Tell him if he did something good. So, the St. Peter's assistant asks, well, have you done any act of charity? I said, well, yes. In last winter storm, I was going through the streets, and I saw a very poor person, and I gave him $2. Wow, let me see, is that true? He looks, yep, I have it here. Good job. Any act of charity? Yes, on a very hot day, there was a lady that I saw, he was dying of thirst, and she needed something to drink, so I bought a bottle of Coke, and I gave her this Coca-Cola. How much was it? $3. Let me see. Was it? Yep, it's there. Any other charity, any other gift you gave? I said, no, not really. So he goes to St. Peter. St. Peter, what do you think we should do? And St. Peter said, well, give him $5 and tell him to go to hell. The other one is more sad, because there were like 3 Jewish ladies, were going to the service, and they crashed in a car, and they behaved very well all their lives, and the guy, St. Peter's assistant tells him, look, there were 3 Jewish ladies, but they were Jewish, so I didn't let them in. And St. Peter said, what? Those 3 Jewish ladies? We want them here, please, to see where they are. So the guardian calls the devil, and he said, well, I'm sorry, we did a big mistake. We want these ladies back. And the devil says, what? Look, they have been here just for a few hours. They already fundraised $200,000. We have great air conditioning. You cannot get these ladies back. So, again, just a little bit of stories to highlight this topic, because I'm here to speak about how this battle of ideas gets fought. And I always recall Milton Friedman, an Nobel laureate, who almost 20 years ago at the meeting of the Mont Pelerin Society, that is gathering Sunday in Sydney here for one of its annual meetings, Friedman had 3 Nobel laureates in front of him, an audience full of academics, and I recall him saying, guys, you think that you are the essence of everything, that you move the world, but the truth, ideas without action are just ideas. If you wouldn't have someone who would have helped you with money or helped you raise money, he mentioned Sir Anthony Fisher, the founder of the Atlas Economic Research Foundation, it would have been impossible for you to have the impact that you had. So I'm here to speak about that topic. And again, Anthony Fisher was a person who made a lot of money, then lost a lot of money. He earned his fortune implementing chicken farming in England, and with his first profits helped found the Institute of Economic Affairs, and then helped attract other funds to that institute, then helped other think tanks, and founded Atlas in 1981, and had the privilege of being president since 1991. Anthony took some of his ideas from Leonard Reed, who was head of the Chamber of Commerce in Los Angeles in California. Both Ron Manners and me regard him as a mentor. I met Leonard Reed when he was a teenager. He founded the Foundation for Economic Education in New York. And that think tank served in a way as a guiding light for Anthony. Reed did not have his own money, but was a master at attracting other philanthropists to the cause of freedom. A little history about philanthropy to complement, by the way, I totally agree with the presentations that preceded me. There was a saint, he was not canonized for being one of the founders of free market economics, Saint Antonine of Florence, of the 14th, 15th century in Italy. Saint Antonine once contemplated that there was a change in government, and some of the rich that were not the favorites of the Medici prince that became the ruler had lost all their money because the guy was privileging his allies, very much like Putin today in England or Kirchner in Argentina. Winner politics, where the winner takes all. So these rich were so ashamed of asking for money that they were going poor and were dying. So he created the society of shameful poor, which were not really poor, they were the rich, and he did not allow anyone to see who was donating the money and who was receiving the support. And this lasted almost until the beginning of the 20th century, 6 centuries of a philanthropy created by this great moral philosopher and economist. His writings influenced greatly someone, if you go to the United Nations, there's a statue after Francisco de Vitoria, who was a Dominican priest like Antonine, and who founded the school of Salamanca, and who was heavily influenced by Antonine. He translated the work of Antonine of Florence. Salamanca was the most important university of this time. It had like 7,000 students towards the end of the 16th century. The English hierarchy had its school, where the model is trained, founded in 1510, the Minor College of St. Thomas of Canterbury. If some of you have Irish ancestry, also had the same with the Irish. The Irish had the Royal College of Irish Nobles that was founded in 1592. Part of those thinkers created another philanthropy. It was called the College of Rome, that taught free, gratis, in the beginning, which now today is the Gregorian University. And there's where Bellarmine, Suarez, and Mariana, and many great champions of republicanism, did their work. Bellarmine's book were in Princeton and Madison. You can see it quoted side by side with the Declaration of Independence and Bellarmine's book, and very, very similar. And Rager, as an author in 1930, wrote a book about this, if some of you are more interested in the scholarly aspect. Mariana, Juan de Mariana, someone called him the guy who spoke more about tyrannicide, was also well known to the American founding fathers, to the point that Thomas Jefferson gives the books of Mariana as a gift to James Madison. So this idea of focusing on moral philosophers as founders of the free society has deep roots, but again, all that work was being possible. It was possible not by the support of the state, by support by many private donations. As a scholarly effort, those of you who are interested in private philanthropy and how the state weakened its roots and how to regain them, Arthur Selden, the great late research director of the Institute of Economic Affairs, in the mid-90s encouraged our allies at the Institute of Economic Affairs to work more on this. There's a wonderful book called The Corrosion of Charity by Robert Whelan, published in 1996. He analyzes William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, Lord Shaftesbury, and Thomas Barnardo, all great figures, again, of Christianity. These were mostly aligned with Protestant Christianity. And I really think that it's very fruitful to read those things. And another new modern effort is created by Donors Trust. I'm on the founding board of the Donors Trust. It has a whole area and a journal called Conversations on Philanthropy, which I think those of you who are interested in the topic might want to look at. But most important, I think the best lesson is that more than studying philanthropy, the best is to practice it. The free market movement has been blessed by, I will read some of them, and I have benefited and worked with all of them. Mr. Lovett Peters is approaching 95 years old or more. At 70, he created his first think tank. He has devoted all his fortune to, mostly anonymously, for many years. I know because that was part of the contract with us. He helped us fund most of the free market think tanks in the United States, anonymously. He's in Boston, founder of the Pioneer Institute. The Eli Lilly family of the labs created a wonderful foundation, put all their money, a lot of their money there. They have helped us channel close to $10 million to Latin America, and they still support a lot of free market effort. Mr. Goodrich was a great businessman in Indianapolis, not the guy of the tires, created Liberty Fund. That is a fund that has $300 million devoted to the Free Society. Richard Scaife, another person who has given more than $300 million, who still has $300 million to give. He must have given, I think, approximately $1 billion to free market efforts. Sir John Templeton, this is my major philanthropic partner. He's now dead, but I'm also very proud to be one of the members of that organization. He left $3.5 billion to charity. 2/3 still has been inactive, apart from the John Templeton Foundation, that I think would love to learn about. We collaborate with many Nobel laureates, even in science. He created, apart from the John Templeton Foundation, the Templeton Religion Trust and the World Charity Foundation, 1/3 of which qualifies to receive for giving grants to free enterprise efforts. My time is running out, and I want to leave the time for question and answers. But I think from Engels to George Soros, Engels with Karl Marx in the 19th century to George Soros today, plus all the dollars that government gives to increase interventionism, if you add all this money, all that free market money, it just is 0.3% of all that is given in the United States. 0.3%. It's 1 billion out of 300 billion. So the only reason I believe that we can win is because that we work closer to the truth, and we have nature, human nature, on our side. But again, things don't happen by themselves. Ideas without ideas are just ideas. We had a program with 3 Nobel laureates 3 weeks ago with Buchanan, Amartya Sen, and Ostrom. And James Buchanan, he must be 92, still very youthful, studying. He said, let's not fool ourselves. The market does not create its own institutions. Institutions are the result of human action. And philanthropists and people, generous people like Ron Manners and many of you who help them in the cause are essential for turning ideas into action. Thank you so much for your attention.